Hi, my name's Ruth. Welcome to this week's video, and if you're new to my channel, it's lovely to have you here. We are from my home on lockdown, like most of you, staying home, staying safe. And this week's video is really going to be all about things that we can be doing in our homes to ease our anxiety during this time. I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about how we can become anxious really fast. So we can feel safe in our homes and feel like we've got everything together and everything's okay, and then the next minute we can need to go and get food, or something can come through the door and we might not handle it properly, or we might need to go for a doctor's appointment or something where we're going to come into contact with other people. And all of these things, or watching the news, can all of a sudden bring on a surge of anxiety during this time. So in this video I want to talk about 3 different ways that have been really helping me with these waves of anxiety that I've been facing, as well as my mum, who lives on her own and is elderly, and lots of other people that I've been talking to, and we've been sharing tips with each other, and these are 3 that I think have been really helpful for me and for others. So number 1 is called box breathing. And I know people can be skeptical about breathing techniques, and it can sound woo-woo and, a bit like spiritual or out there, but this is a proven technique that I'm going to show you, which is used by Navy SEALs. So this is like people that are going in there and they are under super high pressure situations, and they use breathing techniques as well to help calm their minds, calm their bodies, calm their anxiety. And it's also a type of breath that I've learned in a yoga class with my wonderful yoga teacher Sophie. And it just proves that yoga, Navy SEALs, breathing techniques can really work in high pressure situations. So what I'd like to invite you to do, and you can practice it anytime, it's a good one to get used to doing it, so when you are in that high pressure situation or you feel the anxiety come on, you've got it kind of programmed into your system how to do it. So it's called box breathing, and the reason it's called box breathing is because I'm going to show you how to do it in a minute, but I'll just demonstrate. So on the box, we're going 4 breaths in, so counting to 4 in. We're going to hold down this side of the box up to 4, and then we're going to breathe out for 4. And then before we take our next breath in, we're going to come back up the other side of the box, and that is going to take us to the completion, and we're going to do that over and over again. So I'm just going to demo it for you now. So to do a box breath, we're going to breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, and then we complete the cycle again. So hopefully that's helpful, me showing you how to do that, because sometimes I think I can find breathing techniques a little bit tricky to get my head around. So that is one breathing technique that is massively helpful in high pressure, anxious situations. And like I say, it is, scientifically proven, as well as from a more kind of Eastern spiritual practice as well. So try the box breath. You've got nothing to lose. If you can't, sometimes I find it quite hard to do the holds for 4. So I would breathe in for 4, I might just hold for 2, breathe out of my mouth for 4, and then hold for 2. So play around with it, but also you can have this visualization, and I like to do it with the old Nokia snake game of imagining this little kind of snake going around as I'm breathing, so it gives you something to visualize as well if you're quite a visual person. So that is my tip number 1. And tip number 2 is really all about how much we can need to be touched at this time, and we can't touch each other. So more than ever now, we could be craving a hug, we could be craving just affection from somebody, or just a holding of a hand. And especially if you're living on your own, you're not able to get that. I mean, I live with my partner, so we're able to give that to each other. But I could imagine it'd be really tough. Sometimes I imagine what it'd be like if I was here on my own, and I even only have my cats to cuddle. That would be really tough. And one of the techniques that I've seen that I've been doing quite a lot is a Paul McKenna technique, and I've also learned something similar in EMDR therapy, which they do to give to people in kind of like war zone situations or natural disasters to help them cope with the trauma afterwards. And so again, another little demo. So what we do is we take arms on opposite sides like this, and in the EMDR that I learned, it's called the butterfly technique. So the idea is that you're stimulating both sides of your body and it has an effect on your brain. I don't know the total ins and outs, so I'm not even going to pretend, but the butterfly technique is where you do this, like this. And so you would hit yourself like this. The Paul McKenna one is you like rub, and then you look side to side. I'm going to look crazy doing this. You look side to side with your eyes like this at the same time. So it's a bit like trying to pat your head and rub your stomach and shoot a YouTube video at the same time. But it's really comforting, and even just that feeling, it's like you're giving yourself a hug, but there is science behind what it's actually doing to help your brain process the anxiety and the trauma, and how you're feeling is about the two sides of the brain and how that works in more detail. So that is another great technique that you can use. And I always think as well, it's a very natural way that we would use to try and heal ourselves, is this idea of touch. So for example, if you are in crisis or you're in grieving, we will often hold ourselves up like this. We might like rock to comfort ourselves. I might look a bit mad doing this now, but you know, these are the things that we naturally do. If we've got pressure in our head or we're stressing, we might do this, kind of like to like help our heads, and all these things are things that we do without even realizing we're doing them. So that is a really good technique, as I say. Paul McKenna did it on, I think it was this morning, and they were all doing it on Gogglebox, and it was hilarious. And so it's good fun, and you know, it's just a way of giving yourself a nice hug, which we all deserve right now. And number 3 tip is really, you know, I talk a lot about meditation. I practice TM. I'm a big advocate for that. It's not for everyone. And I have done other videos, which I'll link to below, more on like setting up a daily meditation practice and kind of like different techniques that we can use to do that. So I want to say that it is hard for me right now to do this mantra-based meditation. So sitting in silence, just with me and my thoughts, sometimes I'm finding that really intense and quite difficult, and my anxiety comes up a lot. So I've also been listening to a great podcast, which I really wanted to recommend, and they are kind of like mini meditations mixed with music and storytelling and just these beautiful themes that run through them. And they're created by a guy, I think his name is Adam, and he has a background, I think, in sort of like the creative industries, maybe in theatre. And he creates these incredible like soundscapes and stories. And then at the end of those, there's a guided meditation, which is really, really beautiful. And every time I've done them, I've done the woman's work one, I've done a couple of the coronavirus ones that he's done, I've done the happy place one, and they're just incredible. And every time I do them, I lie on my bed, I'm in floods of tears, but they're not like, it's not like sad tears, it's tears of a release. It's like my body, it's my opportunity to just lie on my bed and cry, and then I come out of it and I feel refreshed, and I'm crying with like the beauty of what he's created rather than crying because I feel really sad. But it's allowing me, I think, to let out some things that I'm kind of maybe suppressing and holding back. So that's really beautiful. And one of the things that he gets you to do on that, which is what I've talked about in a previous meditation video, which I love to do, and I find it very grounding. So I'm going to do it set up now, another demo, but I normally do this lying down. So if you could imagine lying down here, so you put either hand, whichever feels most natural, hand on your heart, and then your other hand on your belly. And then it's just like really so comforting doing this, just placing those hands on there. And especially if you've got warm hands, if you can have warm hands, my hands are always cold. And then just allowing yourself to feel like, as you breathe in, this is really important. So as you breathe in, you don't want to be sucking the belly in. You want to allow, when you breathe in, the belly to rise out, almost like imagine we're getting our little Buddha belly going here. So when we breathe in, the belly rises and expands, little Buddha belly's coming up, and then as we breathe out, the belly kind of like softens back in towards your back, and that's a really nice way of getting into that way of breathing, which allows you to use more of your lung capacity, allows you to take better breaths, and it's a lot better for feeding your body that breath that it needs, and it's very soothing and calming, especially when you lay down and you're doing it. It's a really lovely practice. So those are my 3 top things that are helping me at the moment. So we've got number 1, we've got the box breathing. Number 2, we've got the Paul McKenna EMDR, 2 sides of the body, rubbing or patting and looking this way. Even just holding yourself like this is so lovely. And as I say, when they did it on Gogglebox, they all thought they looked mad, but who cares? Who's going to see us? And so that's really nice. And then number 3, just to recap, is those GABA podcasts, which are beautiful. I'll post links below so you can listen to those. They're amazing. And also as well, like I say, hand on the belly, hand on the heart. Really simple. You can tune into that anytime, any place as well. And please stay safe. And understand that if you are feeling anxious about when things come through the door, or you've got to go out shopping and you're worried you've brought germs in and you're worried that you've brought the virus into your home, just know that you're not alone. We can only do our best. We're dealing with a completely new situation of having to clean everything down and all these things, which especially like me, when you're just like a total dirtbag and don't care about germs, which is like how I am all the time. This is a real weird thing for me to start doing, so just don't feel guilty about it, and know that there are things that can help your anxiety, like these techniques that I've just talked about. And one other thing which Emma Kenny said recently, which really helped me, is to remember that when you have those anxious thoughts, is to have that counterpart in your brain which allows you to think, give yourself like the opposite argument. So if you're really worried that, say for example, you're going to get coronavirus and you might be one of the people that ends up in hospital and there might not be the right equipment or the people there to protect you. Really kind of like countering that and saying, okay, well, I know I'm scared and that's the very emotional reaction to this situation, but what about the statistics? Like, how likely is that to happen? How many people have got it? How likely am I to get it? If I did get it, what's the likelihood? And really like breaking it down. And often I find that that really helps my anxiety. And that was a really good tip that I got yesterday from Emma Kenny. So thanks guys, and I will see you soon for another video. All right, take care, stay safe, bye.